Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala, Paper 12 Environmental Management, Module 31 National Rehabilitation and Resettlement Policy 2007. In this module, we will discuss it under the introduction, objectives of the NRRC 2007, then broad principles of NRRC 2007, procedure for rehabilitation and resettlement, declaration of affected area, then impact assessment of the affected persons, rehabilitation and resettlement benefits for the affected families, and finally, amenities and infrastructural facilities to be provided at the resettlement areas. So, introduction. Ever since the inception of community life, humans have a craving for stable household, which designates comfortable life. This is called as settlement in general terms. The settlement could be disturbed by natural calamities such as drought, flood, earthquake, etc., which is termed as voluntary displacement. However, acquisition of private property by the government on the name of development forces involuntary displacement of general public. Such involuntary displacement leads to disturbing mental and socio-cultural consequences on concerned population. To avoid unnecessary repositions and minimize their effect on the residential population, there was a need of resettlement policy with active participation of affected population. Such a policy was formulated by the Government of India to save the rights of adversely affected families who won legal and recognized rights on the assets, in addition to those families who do not hold any legal right on land, but earn their livelihood through agricultural labor or manual labor from the declared areas. This puts a greater responsibility on the policy makers to establish agreement that benefits all kind of people whose livelihood activities became difficult after resettlement. To minimize the negative social impact and counter the economic disadvantages of displacement, a thorough assessment was needed in participatory and transparent manner. A careful quantification of adverse impact of involuntary displacement on economic, social, environmental and cultural aspects was assessed to create harmony after resettlement. This was more important when the affected population included number of weaker sections of the society such as scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, farmers, etc. It was expected that the national policy would address all the projects that led to involuntary displacement and would provide compensation as well as opportunities to all affected families for a stable and quality life after resettlement. Government of India brought forward the National Rehabilitation and Resettlement Policy, commonly called NRRC, which was published in the Gazette of India Extraordinary Part 1, Section 1 dated 31st October 2007 to minimize large scale displacement as far as possible. All the information mentioned in the chapter is from the policy published in the website. In the policy, a special emphasis has been subjected to displacement of people only for those projects that are desirable, justifiable and show cost benefit to society at large. Acquisition of agriculture land for non-agricultural projects has been minimized as far as possible. Setup of multi-dimensional projects have been restricted at waste, dreaded or unirrigated land. It is proposed that before initiating the acquisition of land for major projects, the government would consider at the alternate strategies possible to minimize number 1 the displacement of people, number 2 the total area of land required for the project and finally acquisition of agricultural land for non-agricultural purposes. Objectives of the NRCC 2007. The National Rehabilitation and Resettlement Policy 2007 framed various rehabilitation strategies with some common objectives for all the projects that require displacement for their implementation. Even if the project has a long-term benefit to the society, even then the concerns have been prioritized before any declaration, and these are number 1 to minimize displacement of residential population to a greater extent and as far as possible, to confirm satisfactory rehabilitation package and efficient and speedy execution of the rehabilitation process with the active participation of the affected families before displacement, to protect the rights of the weaker section of society, especially members of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, and deal with sensitivity, to provide better standard of living accompanied with sustainable income opportunities to the affected families, to integrate rehabilitation concerns into the development planning and implementation process, to promote mutual cooperation and facilitate harmonious relationship between the affected population and the acquiring bodies. Then comes the broad principles of NRCC 2007. The broad principles of the rehabilitation policy are: formal consent of all the affected people should be taken in advance before any declaration of displacement involved projects. B. The unwillingness of people to relocate for a project with social benefits indicates faults in the way the issue being approached or unsatisfactory compensation to the affected population. The affected families should be provided with the right to challenge the government's claim of public interest and present their plight and matter of interest related to the project implementation. Compensation package should take care of every affected family, and elder sons or unmarried daughters should be regarded as separate families to create harmony in the compensation benefits. In addition, both the spouse should have equal right on the compensation offered. Compensation should take care of quantifiable and unquantifiable losses of the families. and should ensure a better life to the affected families than before. Irrespective of their prior status, the economic status of the displaced people should be above the poverty line. F. Affected population should be compensated for the lost basic amenities and assets. G. It is recommended that the compensation should be made at the current market rate and in no case it should lead to depreciation of asset value. H. Compensation should take care of not only lost property and assets, but should also reimburse for lost lives and better life opportunities. I. Principles must be followed to ensure proper compensation, package for social loss, and for those who are incapable of utilizing large cash amounts offered. J. The principle of land for land should be strictly followed and the land owner should be provided with the land of equal size, minimum 2 hectares, and productivity. Land dependent agricultural laborers who legally do not own any land in the acquired area should be compensated with 2 hectares of land. K. Agricultural land related to different communities should be consolidated and the involved communities should be kept together after displacement to safeguard their social and cultural identities. L. The rehabilitation and resettlement of affected population with the host community should ensure moral understanding and equality status to maintain their cultural identities. M. The time frame of the whole displacement process should be informed to the affected population well in advance and they should be provided enough time to adjust to the new lifestyle and location. The affected individuals should be offered enough opportunities to restart their previous occupation or choose among other viable alternatives. They should be helped for any new ventures which may be in adjusting to the new conditions. O. The affected population should have the first right on any kind of employment or livelihood opportunities generated by the project. If required, training and experience to interested personnel should be provided to enable their participation in the direct or indirect benefits of the project. The project affected people should be regarded as the first consumers of project generated outcomes such as irrigation water from irrigation projects or power from hydroelectric projects. Equal participation of the affected people. The governing authorities address all the public issues before any announcement about the displacement. Streamlined procedures have been framed to carry out rehabilitation that includes number 1, proper declaration of the affected area, number 2, impact assessment of the affected persons, number 3, preparation of rehabilitation and resettlement scheme and its public awareness, then declaration of the compensation packages. Declaration of affected area. It is proposed that if it has been identified that the proposed project implementation requires the involuntary displacement of communities with 400 and more families in plain areas or 200 and more families in tribal or hilly areas, then the area of village or locality may be notified as affected area in the official gazette. B. The official declaration about the affected area should be published in at least 3 newspapers, 2 of which should have circulation in affected villages and communities. The notification should also be fixed on the notice board of concerned Gram Panchayat or municipal offices for widespread of the information. Impact assessment of the affected persons. After proper declaration, a baseline survey and census of the identification of affected families and dependents should be made by the administrator for rehabilitation and resettlement. The survey should be done expeditiously within a period of 90 days from the date of declaration of the affected area. The survey should contain the following village-wise information of the affected families. Number 1, information of members residing permanently in the affected area and engaged in business, trade or any other occupation. Information of the families who are likely to lose their agricultural land, house, employment, business or other such assets and are in fear of loss of substantial earning opportunities. Information on dependent individuals such as abandoned or widow women, children, old aged people and unmarried girls etc., who cannot be provided with alternative livelihood. Information on families that do not hold any land legally in affected areas but are residing there for a period of not less than 3 years before declaration. Families belonging to scheduled tribes who are or were having possession of any forest land in the affected area before 13th December 2005. Earlier, it was the duty of administrator to prepare a draft regarding the finding of the survey and invite for suggestions or objections from the people affected directly or likely to be affected. The prepared draft should be brought in the knowledge of the concerned people through widened publicity. The administrator is supported to submit all the objections advised along with the survey draft to the active government after a period of 30 days. After a period of 45 days from the date of receipt of survey details and recommendations of the administrator, the government should publish final details on the official gazette. The most important decision to be made by the government is the declaration of an area as the resettlement and rehabilitation area. It is the duty of the administrator to provide the list of lands available for rehabilitation and resettlement of affected families. The lands drawn up for such purposes could be number 1, land acquired for a project and available for resettlement of affected families. Any government owned land laying waste land and available for allotment. Any land available for purpose or acquisition for resettlement and rehabilitation purpose, but should not lead to displacement of another community. The administrator has also to ensure that the affected families have been comfortably resettled in the areas as a group or with the host community on the basis of equality and mutual understanding. As soon as the completion of baseline survey and consensus and census of the affected families and assessment of the requirement of land for resettlement is completed, the administrator should draft plan of rehabilitation and resettlement for the affected families. The plan of rehabilitation and resettlement should contain essentials and Awareness about the same should reach every affected individual through widespread publicity. The essentials are name of the village and the extent of the land to be acquired, a village and family wise list of the affected persons, list of individual dependent on the agricultural activities for their livelihood or working as agricultural laborers, list of people who have or are likely to lose their employment or earning opportunities, list of government utilities or buildings which are affected or likely to be affected, details of public and community properties, assets and infrastructure, list of benefits and packages which would be provided to the affected families, the time schedule for shifting and resettling the displaced persons in the resettlement area or areas. The rehabilitation and resettlement plan should be discussed in Gram subdivision, rural areas and in public hearings in urban and rural areas where Gram Sabhas do not exist. The involuntary displacement, which includes 200 or more scheduled tribe families from the scheduled areas, the concerned tribe advisory councils should be consulted. The administrator should ensure that the entire estimated cost of the rehabilitation and resettlement plan should be an integral part of the cost of project, which should be borne by the requiring body. The administrator for rehabilitation and resettlement should submit the draft of plan for rehabilitation and resettlement to the appropriate government for their approval. After approval of the rehabilitation and resettlement plan, the appropriate government should publish the same in the official gazette, which also designates its enforcement. Further, it is the responsibility of the requiring body or acquiring body to deposit 1/3 of the rehabilitation and resettlement cost to the administrator as soon as the draft is finalized and contribute in the implementation of the plan. The administrator for rehabilitation and resettlement should keep proper books of account and records of the funds placed at his disposal and submit periodic return to the appropriate government in this behalf. Amenities and infrastructural facilities to be provided at resettlement areas. In case of involuntary displacement of communities with 400 and more families in plain areas or 200 and more families in tribal or hilly areas, ample infrastructural facilities and conveniences should be provided in the resettlement areas. These facilities include safe drinking water for people and their families, health centers, child and mother care centers, community center, schools, institutional arrangements for training, electricity, children's playground, community ponds, drainage, sanitation, grazing land, land for fodder, plantation, etc., fair price shops for all necessary goods, panchayat ghars, cooperative societies, post offices, places of worship, land for traditional tribal institutions, burial or cremation grounds and security arrangements. If relocation takes place in an existing settlement area, the same infrastructure should also be extended to host community. While shifting the population of the affected area to the resettlement area, the administrator for rehabilitation and resettlement should ensure that in case the displacement requires shifting of an entire population of the village or area that belongs to a particular community, they should be as far as possible resettled in a compact area to maintain their socio-cultural relations and social harmony. In case of resettlement of affected families of scheduled tribes or caste, it should be ensured that such families are resettled in the areas close to the villages. As an important consideration, it should be ensured that the resettlement area forms part of a Gram Panchayat or municipality. Involuntary displacement of general public for projects of long-term benefits requires a streamlined procedure. It is necessary to safeguard the rights of the affected people and to provide them appropriate compensation and other benefits of the project. The National Rehabilitation and Resettlement Policy 2007 states all the prerequisites that should be taken care of before and after the displacement of the people for government or private projects. The assessment of social and economic impact on the affected families has been given importance. It is also stated that the affected families should be provided a better place for resettlement with satisfactory earning opportunities and basic facilities. In case of involuntary displacement of weaker sections of the society, for specially scheduled tribe or scheduled caste, special guidelines have been framed out to create harmony with host community. The Government of India has put a step to avoid involuntary displacement as far as possible, and if unavoidable, the affected population should be resettled with a better economic and social status. Thank you.